I don't want to be fancy.
I thought it was Gauthier.
Then the powers that be said it was Gauthier. And I still don't know what the right way is, but I'm going to...
It's Gauthier.
What's amazing is about this this next guy is that he's such a cool dude that he really doesn't care how to pronounce it. So ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chris Gauthier!
That's Canadian too, by the way.
That's why we
Real young.
That's why we played it. That's why we played it. We
Thank
always
you.
play something that's specific for the person that's coming out.
Thanks, eh?
And you're Canadian, eh? so yeah.
So yeah, it's good up there.
Yeah, Neil Young, eh?
Yeah. Actually, Rob and I think he mentioned earlier, he and I did one of our first cons ever together for Supernatural with Mitch Pileggi
And Mark Pellegrino.
and Mark Pellegrino.
Just the four of us.
In a place called Birmingham. And we did it to a hall of like 50.
And they were there.
And you were there.
Yeah, but we had a great time.
It was so good. It was so good.
That was where one of Richard Spade, one of his favorite stories is we were on a train coming back and we spent the whole weekend together, just the four of us, so we're pretty tight. And so I said to Mitch Pileggi, give me your email, I'll send you my info. So I emailed him and I said, this is Rob Benedict. And Mitch, 10 minutes later, he's reading his email, he's like, who the fuck is Rob Benedict? Like dead serious, because we never really formally, I guess with the last name, it threw him off. He's, who the fuck is Rob Benedict? I was like, that's me, Mitch. He's like, oh, Rob, I was so sorry.
No, I knew that.
Every time I see Mitch now, 10 years later, he's always like, who the fuck is Rob Benedict? And he laugh, Funny stuff. Well, anyways, great to see you again.
You too, man. You too.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chris
Thank you guys. Thank you, Latin Swain. What an incredible band. I want to start by saying that I'm a pretty open fella. So feel free to ask questions related to Supernatural, related to my beard, to my nationality, really just, and Eureka, anything really. So just feel free. I'm here to have a good time and have you get to know me. So I started out by doing Supernatural cons, as I mentioned, in Birmingham, but I haven't done a Supernatural con for like 10 years. And I heard the Supernatural crowds are freaking amazing. I've done some Once Upon a Time cons, but you tend to have to be PG, so it's a little bit like, you kind of sit with your legs crossed. I can't do it, but I've heard people can. And mind your P's and Q's, so it's kind of refreshing to be a little bit more chill. So thank you for having me, Las Vegas, and if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer anything.
You got one way down there.
Way down where?
Hi, Chris.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
My question is what is the most interesting thing you've had to learn to do for a role?
What is the most interesting thing I've had to learn to do? Probably fly. And by that I mean they attach me to wires. I did this show called Sanctuary. I don't know if anybody's heard of that. So I did an episode of that called The Adjuster. And I was like this Superman type creature. And how I ended up getting my abilities is I fell. Our whole adjustment firm did like a bonding exercise. We went out to the woods and I ended up falling into this pit and this slime covered me and it endowed me with the ability to do whatever I wanted. So if I wanted to fly, I could just think fly and I did it. But I did it really terribly. So I would think that I was being a hero, like somebody was jumping off a building, I would figure I'd go save them and I'd fly into them and break their ribs, kind of thing. So, but anyway, in this particular episode, the whole starting sequence is me flying in and beating up a bunch of gangsters. And so they got me on these wires, and I was on these wires for about 6 hours. And so I wasn't drinking any water because I was scared to have to go to the bathroom and take off all this stuff. I was wearing like neoprene suit, jogging suit, exoskeleton, another suit. And then, so about 7 hours in, I nearly passed out. I was on the wires. And I nearly passed out. And the funny part of that, because that's not a very funny story at all, but the funny part about that is that the stuntman who was waiting there ended up having to get into my suit, and it was drenched. So I'm almost passed out, and he's having to like slime into my gear. I felt terrible, but it was definitely like the craziest thing I had to learn. You know, I had to learn how to moderate myself. I had to learn, it's crazy. Flying's awesome, but it's crazy, guys. Don't do it. Do it. Thank you. Oh, hi.
Hello. What a lovely game of soccer you played.
Oh, thank you. Thank
One of
you.
those photos you retweeted.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool.
On Eureka,
Yeah.
actor-wise, what was the ratio of nerd to normal person?
Pretty much, I'd say the only non-nerd was Ed Quinn. Otherwise, everybody, for the actors, you mean, in the cast?
Yeah.
Yeah, Colin's a nerd, Neil's a nerd. Erica Chera, she's in the 100. She was kind of a nerd. We were all pretty darn nerdy, and thank you for those photos, by the way. Very, very cool. She's referring to the celebrity soccer match. So I helped organize that whole thing, and it was a very, very cool event. Jared and Jensen came and played in it too.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you.
And your son did a great job.
Thank you. She said my son did a great job. He's my hero. He's my soccer hero.
Hi.
Hi.
So if you could pick any role, genre, like what's your dream movie or dream TV show to star in? Like plot.
Like, if I could star in any style thing, it's really typical, and I feel bad about saying it, but like Game of Thrones, any kind of thing like that. And I would like to be the kick-ass dude. I would like to be like the Sam, but he's like the lead. And I mean Sam like as in like Sam and Frodo type thing. I would like to be the chubby lead guy. Like fat, but he can kick ass, you know what I mean? So I would be like Jon Snow or something, but fat. That or something really serious, because I feel like that would be a huge departure for me. I often say to people that whenever I do a role, I feel like there should be tuba music playing in the background because the parts that I get. It's always like stupid sidekick guy. Yeah, so my guy, I always feel like there's tuba music going. I'm not degrading myself. I just feel that's the way it is. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
So I'm a huge fan of the show Once Upon a Time.
Cool.
So I was wondering what you think your character would do if he was thrown into the supernatural world.
He would align himself with somebody evil, I think. Somebody evil but good. Basically, that's what he did in the Once universe. He aligned himself with Hook. Yeah, I would have to think he'd do something like that. He'd align himself with a demon or something. But either way, he would be a sidekick. Thank you. Thanks.
Hey, how are
Hi.
you?
Good, thanks.
What was it like being in Freddy vs. Jason?
Oh, that was so cool. When I auditioned for that in the first place, I went out for the original. So when you go out for a part, you audition. You probably already know this, but you go out for the part, you audition, and then you'll get a call back, which is with director and producer and stuff like that. So they get a chance to see you and get a feel for you in person. So I had auditioned for this, and I was a massive fan, specifically of Nightmare on Elm Street. And so when I got to go out for this part, I was like, yes! And it wouldn't have been a boom, 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 boom. So this was exciting for me too. So I ended up going out for the audition, and I loved it, and I felt like I did a really, really good job. And then I was shooting a commercial, so I couldn't make the callbacks, and I was devastated. And then they ended up just casting me off of the first audition anyway, which was absolutely amazing. I loved every minute of it. The only drawback was that I was killed by Jason and not Freddy. Which is, oh sorry, spoiler alert. But But it was so much fun. This is like I love horror. So yeah, actually I revised my former answer too about Game of Thrones. I would also star in some kind of horror thing. I got a flaming machete through my chest, and we were in a cornfield I think we were in a town called White Rock outside of Vancouver, and it was about 6 in the morning, and they hooked up this hose to me, and it ran down my chest and down my leg, all the way back about 100 feet to a guy with a pump. And when I got hit with the machete through the chest, they would just go, "You're hit!" And I'd have to go I had this mouthful of blood too, so I'd let the mouthful of blood go, and then that squib, that hose that came out my chest, would squirt a bunch of blood too. Fortunately, we got it in one take, because it meant running through a cornfield. It was so cool. I love it. I love horror. Thank you.
Was it the corn syrup blood?
What's that?
Was it the corn syrup kind of blood?
And it was corn syrup blood too.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Hi.
Hi.
So in Night Shifter, the episode in Supernatural
Yeah.
that you're in, how did it feel? Like, was it hard with when you died, when we were laying on the floor? Because I saw a blooper in the gag reel. Was it hard to keep a straight face or
Yeah.
try to stop breathing with Jensen behind you?
Yeah, those guys are insanely funny. So any kind of scene, you don't want to be doing drama of any type or any kind of seriousness with these guys, because they are incredibly funny. And also I was having to not breathe, and being a bigger guy, the camera, the shot I think of me on the floor was wide enough so you could see my back, and any breath is on that tight a lens just amplifies it by 100. So a little tiny breath just looks like this. My back's doing this. So I'm conscious of that. I'm conscious of holding my breath. And then you've got Jared and Jensen there, who are hilarious. So yeah, it was definitely difficult. But I have to say that out of all the roles that I've done, that might have been one of the most rewarding roles that I have ever done. Ronald was sweet. He was earnest. He had the best of intentions. I just really identified with him, and it was a real blast to get to shoot. And the fact that we got to shoot inside a legit bank, and my opening line is I come in and I get to bring a shotgun into the bank, and I go, "This is not a robbery!" It was every kid's dream come true. And I'm to Sam, I'm like, "You shut up, I ain't talking to you, I don't like you." To get to do that too, everything about it was visceral, and then to get this wonderful kind of earnestness, the sweetness that Ronald had, he was right the whole damn time. So for me, that was one of the best things. But to answer your question, and in short, yeah, it was very hard. It was very hard. It was hard dying because of that. It was also hard dying because I didn't want to die. I had so much fun. And thank you for that. That was a fun question. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
Are you based in Vancouver mostly?
I am based fully in Vancouver, yeah.
So my question was, how is Vancouver different as an actor? Jared and Jensen talk about the show is very different and the set is very different because it's in Vancouver versus LA, and that's been a great thing for them. So I wanted to hear more about that.
How is it working in Vancouver? No, say it again.
Yeah, how is it working in Vancouver, and is it different as an actor?
Yeah, I mean, we've got, the beautiful thing about Vancouver is that we can stand in for almost anywhere, at least, Vancouver and surrounding areas. The surrounding areas can be anywhere. We have a place called Kamloops that's very deserty. Shooting in Vancouver, I love it. I love the forest. I love the mountains. I love all the locations that we get to shoot in. I did a TV show called Harpers Island with Jim Beaver as well, which, thank you. And we got to be on a boat. We got to be on this little tiny island that's just outside of Vancouver as well. Shooting there is it's called Supernatural British Columbia for a reason. It is so magnificent. And I think, I can't speak for the rest of the cast or whatever, but I feel like getting out is a nice thing, despite the rain of the studio, because studio is long and exhausting, and there's no air, and in Vancouver. It's the most beautiful place. If you haven't been, I would suggest going. It is truly a magical place. It's as magical as it looks on screen. Thank you. It's so much fun. Thanks. Thanks, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
I was just wondering if you had any entertaining or funny stories to share from the one episode you were on.
I mean, it was basically that. It was basically when you come to a show, you don't feel like you can sort of fool around or jerk around, you know what I mean? Like if you're just on the show for one thing. If you're on as a regular, it's a different story. So there wasn't too much of that. Just the general vibe on set was that it was quite relaxed. It was very early on in the show too. So I think Jared and Jensen were sort of getting their legs at that point. It was season 2, I believe. And it was all fun. Nothing particular stands out right now. You're also working a lot of long hours too. You know, we would do like 14, 15, 16-hour days too. So in a bank in Vancouver, shooting guns. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
So, like you were saying, Ronald was a really, really sweet character, and he had the best intentions, even though he was a little off with the laser eyes.
Yeah.
But I wanted to know, you had to come back, I think it was season 4,
yeah.
And you were playing Ronald as a very vengeful character. So what was it like to play Ronald as a very sweet character, and then just play him as a ghost?
Very cool. Like just to be the complete opposite of what I was fun. It was too short. I feel like it would have been really cool to be vengeful throughout an entire episode. I really just had that scene on the stairs, I think, and Are You There, God? It's me, Dean. Cool though, like to be bitter is awesome, and being the tuba guy, you don't get a chance to be like a prick. So for me, when I get to be a prick, it's quite exciting. That came out so wrong.
Did it though?
Thanks, dude. Thank you.
So you've played a lot of really fun, interesting characters on a lot of shows. Yeah. Have you ever taken anything from a set or a show that you particularly liked?
If you promise you won't tell anyone. I ended up taking my beanie from Once Upon a Time, the red Smee beanie. I don't think I'm supposed to say. Don't tell anyone, okay? No, I think it's fine. They had multiples of those. That basically, they did have a set sale for the Supernatural thing, but my stuff was gone. I was gonna get it. Let me think. What else? Oh, Harpers Island. I took my skull. Damn it, that's another spoiler. I took a fedora from Eureka. We did this episode that was like I wore a zoot suit. I took the entire zoot suit and the fedora. Yeah. Still haven't worn it, but I'm going to wear it again for a film that I'm doing down the road here. I think that's it. I think that summarizes it. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Hi, I'm Ivana.
Hi.
I have a question. If you could go back to Supernatural and play any character you would like, who would you pick? Or if you were in Supernatural in real life, how do you think you would survive?
I mean, I have to be honest, and I don't think I would survive. I would be a pretty quick exit, I think. But if I had my druthers, I mean, again, it goes back to me wanting to be like a lead dude that's like not typically a lead. I think I would be Dean. I mean, it's a stretch, but that's what makes it so cool. And I hope you'll tune in. It'll be airing never. Dean. Yeah, I know. But I think it would be a rad idea to see a chubby fella, like a cool chubby fella be a lead in something. I like it. Yeah. Chubby. Thank you so much. Thank you. Hi.
When was the moment in your life that you realized that acting was your passion and something you wanted to go into?
I've known forever, like basically just being a class clown and stuff like that when I was younger. And then I went and watched a play what was it called? It was A Pocket Full of Sixpence, I think was the name of the play. And I saw that. And I remember sitting there watching and just like looking at everyone and going like, there's like a venue for this shit? Like, you can do that and people will come and just like laugh and like, I remember that being like, I think I was 11 or 12. And I instantly I ended up taking these classes in the town next to mine. I come from a small town in British Columbia called Armstrong, and the town next to me, Vernon, had a drama class. And it was very serious, and I ended up taking some serious drama classes and things like that. And basically since then, but I moved down from my small town in BC to Vancouver in 1999, and if it wasn't for my wife, then girlfriend, I don't know if I would have ever done it, so it's pretty special. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thank you. I think this side.
Hi, Smallville was one of my favorite shows, and you were the toy man, I believe, on several episodes, and I was just wondering one of your favorite memories from any of the episodes you shot.
The whole thing, really, like, she was talking about my role as Toyman in Smallville. I played this evil toy builder guy. I had some super fun scenes with the Arrow, just the scenes in my workshop, I just adored. I built these little models, and he was very meticulous and articulate, and I really enjoyed doing that. Actually, here's kind of like a behind the scenes thing. So when I was kind of getting into that role, and when I auditioned for it, I was heavy into Dexter, and so I basically took Dexter's cadence and adopted it for the Toyman. Shooting the Toyman was absolutely incredible, but I remember the day that I looked at Tom Welling, and I was like, holy crap, this man is beautiful. He holds me, I'm like a robot version of myself, I'm Robot Toyman, and then Tom kind of has this scene where he like holds me over the balcony at this ball or this like fancy dinner type thing. And I remember looking at his face and going, I've never seen anything so symmetrical. I like swooned. It was so weird. So that obviously sticks out to me, but like the whole thing, and to get away from playing just the silly, I mean, Toyman is silly in his own way, but to be serious about it. And the beautiful thing about, I think, Toyman is that he doesn't have any discernible powers. He's just an asshole. So, like, to be a villain of that grandiose is pretty incredible, considering he can't do anything except put together clockwork. Like, that's super cool. So that was a great one. That was a great one. Thank you. Oh.
So, your job sounds really fun.
It is.
Is there any part of it that you wish you could do without?
Like learning lines. It sounds silly, but like I love improvising too. So I feel like if you just give me what you want in the scene and I could go in and do that would be incredible. No, it's a lot of work. I think what a lot of people don't realize is that when people book roles and things like that, and certainly for Jared Jensen who play a lot, it's an insane amount of work. Like you do your day of work, you go home, and you're memorizing the next day. Like there's not really any time off as an actor if you're working in that kind of capacity. So that's for me. I don't have to worry about that so much. Like I generally guest star on stuff where I have recurring bits on things, and I'm not a lead, as we've well established. So I don't have all those lines to learn. So for me, it's not that bad, but it's difficult. And auditioning's quite hard too, I think. Like going into the room and then, you've got 5 or 6 people sitting there looking at you up and down going like, is he good? I don't know. Even if you're like killing it. So probably auditioning as well. Even it's fun too. It's like, it's really an adrenaline rush. I'm a terrible diplomat. Okay. Thank you. Thanks very much. Thanks.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
You have been in so many things that I absolutely adore.
Oh, thank you.
But one of my favorite was Eureka. I wonder if you have any thoughts as to what it was like to be on that set, or any really fun behind the scenes, or any oddball things that might have happened?
That was an incredible set. It was so much fun. We spent a lot of years together. Me and Neil got along really well. He played Fargo in the show. Me and him hit it off. I was at his wedding. We were always goofs, so we were the ones that were doing all the goofing on that set, and that speaks to you being on a set. It generally tends to give you more freedom to kind of fart around and be a goofball. So for me, that was incredible. As far as specific things go, just like being off camera and messing with people who are doing their scene. So you know that when you see a scene, they shoot one way and then they turn around and shoot the other way, and you basically have to do everything exactly the same. So if you can, we would try and break each other, but this is in the age of digital. You couldn't do it back when it was film, but like you could do your guy in a totally different accent. Like we would do that to each other, like pick our nose while we were talking to each other, and it could be super serious. That was an amazing time. I think I was on that show for like 7 or 8 years. It was something like that, maybe 6, 7, 8. I don't know. Yeah, it was brilliant. And playing Vincent. For those who don't know, this show is about a town of geniuses, and my guy was sort of like a culinary genius. And so my place was like the home hub. It was like, you know, where they would come and eat. It was like at the end of every episode, everybody came and met up at Cafe Diem and cheersed about the world being saved. It was a very, very fun thing. Thank you for that question, by the way. Thank you. And to you.
Hi, Chris. Thank you for being here.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Will you say your last name so we can all know how to pronounce it correctly?
Gauthier. Just kidding. It's Gauthier. So you would say, like, it's kind of like Gochay, Gauthier. And my voice is gone, but I can assure you it's not coronavirus, okay?
Thank you.
I ain't afraid to touch it. Thank you. Gauthier.
No, I have a real question too.
Yeah.
Thank you. Is there an actor, like we all obviously are fanboys and fangirls, is there an actor that you fanboy over, like a favorite actor?
Yeah, I really like John Malkovich. It's kind of a strange one. It kind of goes against type. There's something about him and the way he speaks. He's fascinating to me. I love him. There's got to be somebody else. It would have been Robin Williams as well, who was fantastic. I did get to work with him he was amazing. I did get to work with him on a Christopher Nolan movie called Insomnia as well. And he was brilliant. So in between takes and stuff, he would come out and just like, for those of us, I was like a bullpen guy. I had the stupidest part in that whole movie. This movie was so serious and so good. And then I had a scene with me and Hilary Swank, and I played one of her deputies. And so in this scene, she's like figuring out how this person was murdered, and this person was murdered in a creek. So she has my character in the creek, and then she's like, okay, a little to the left, and I'm lying in this creek. And the movie's going along, it's so serious, it's so good, and everybody's like enraptured. And then she goes, okay, can you move a little to the left? And I look up at her and I go, are we almost done here? My nads are freezing off. And it's like this break, it's like the tuba music in the middle of like Mozart. You know, or Beethoven's Ninth, and all of a sudden it's like boom, 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 boom. Are we almost done here? I'm freezing my nads off. And that's basically it. That's my bit in the movie. And then you see me from time to time in the background. There's another little tidbit, just because I'm on this movie at the moment. There's a tidbit where I was watching, it's a scene where Al Pacino was talking to Robin Williams on the phone from the cop shop. And we were all kind of standing in his eye line because he was just rehearsing. And so I was like in this like window type thing, and I was leaning there with a bunch of people. And he does it one time, we're all like, wow, that's Al Pacino. And then everybody kind of leaves, which I don't see, and he does the scene again, and there's just me in the window. And he's staring at me, and I look. And I'm like, oh shit. So I quickly just ducked out. They were shooting. So when you watch, if you watch that film again, watch for him doing a phone scene, and you have the knowledge now that there's a goofy tuba music actor standing looking at him, gawking. Thank you. Thanks so much. Thank you. Somebody always claps over here. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
So my question is about classic cars. My favorite classic car is the '69 Camaro, and I know most people here will say Impala because, you know, that's who he is. But what is your favorite classic car?
Oh, man. Man, I would probably go with a Camaro too. Something like stubby, muscly kind of thing. Like, is that right? You know, my dad had a Chevy Malibu once that had these big tires on the back. That was pretty friggin' cool. Yeah, or like, I'm gonna go with that. Yeah, thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
How do you think Ronald would have dealt with being in the world of Once Upon a Time?
Oh, that's a cool spin, actually. I thought of Smee and super. I think that he would love it. I think he'd be super enthusiastic about solving crimes. Probably when people didn't want him to come there and help solve crimes. I think he would be great. I don't know what his alter ego would be though, because everybody has like an alter ego, right? Who would he be? Somebody super eager. He'd probably be Smee. Oh, wow. I hadn't thought of that. That is really cool. Yeah, I think he'd love it, though. I think Ronald would friggin' love it. Ronald loves a good conspiracy and, like, figuring stuff out. You remember all those maps that he had on his wall and, like, that they absconded with, the bastards. Yeah, I think he'd love it. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Hi. You've told us some really great set stories. I was just wondering if you have any one particular that's either your favorite or most memorable from any of the sets that you've been on.
Wow, okay. I'm gonna start by saying my worst, because that instantly comes to mind. I hate, like, sea creatures and things like that. And I was shooting that show called Harpers Island that I had mentioned before. And we shot, like, this thing, it's called a spec thing. So it was like a 10-minute version of what the show was gonna be about. And then, so they had this, like, fake death scene for me. My character was to be washed up on shore. So I had to get in February in Vancouver, I had to get into the ocean in a dry suit. But when I got into the ocean, I kind of put my hands back like that and leaned back, and as I was leaning back, all the water seeped into my wetsuit. And so I was like, so I'm freezing, and then so John Turtletop is directing this thing. He directed National Treasure and stuff like that. And then he's like, okay, now bring out the crabs. And I thought he was joking. He wasn't joking. So there's a crab wrangler, and he's got a bucket filled with crabs about that big. And they just dump it all over my chest, all over my body. And then they had like 3 or 4 big crabs that they put on top of the little crabs. And I'm already petrified. At that point, I wasn't even eating seafood, let alone having it on me. And so, and then that's not even the worst. So I'm shivering, I'm mad that, you know, they're setting up camera. I'm already in the water. I had to like sort of set it up there so they could get their camera angles and stuff like that. And then we shoot it. And I'm freezing, and then I go back to my trailer, and I'm picking crabs out of underneath my wetsuit that are clinging on spots, and I was like, that was the worst. The best, honestly, I think it was the bank stuff in Supernatural. Out of all the things that I've done, to be able to do that, like, the scene was awesome, the scene with the boys was so cool, the getting shot was really cool, it was really dramatic and really good, and it was a wonderful departure for me. But that boyhood fascination of, like, going into, like, a live bank in Vancouver that I banked in before, and getting to unload a shotgun. I also have friends on that show too that work in the crew. I grew up with a few of the dudes that are like, one's a carpenter, one was one of the head carpenters. a stunt guy I know from Armstrong. So that whole thing was absolutely amazing. So probably that. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Hi, my question's not supernatural related, but I'm a huge hockey fan. And maybe it's trite asking a Canadian, but I'm going to Vancouver to watch a Golden Knights game.
Nice. I like the Golden Knights, by the way.
Well, okay, they're playing while you're here, so you should go see them.
They're not playing while I'm here. I looked that up. I leave tomorrow, or Saturday. Saturday day.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I really wanted to go and watch them.
Oh, well, I was wondering, where do you recommend we go and have beers?
Ooh, there's the Shark Club right beside GM Place. You can go there. Main Street. There's a place called I think it's just Main Street Bar is a good spot. But Shark Club is right there. You're gonna have to go early. Who's your favorite player?
On the Knights?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a Ryan Reeves fan.
Okay. I'm a Pacioretty guy.
Okay, Pacioretty. I was at a signing last night and got his signature.
Did you really?
I did, and my dog's name is Maxie Pucciaretti.
That is oh my God! Okay, so this leads me to something. Somebody asked me who I'd fanboy over. I actually fanboyed over Kevin. Do you know Kevin Bieksa? He used to play for the Ducks, but before that he played for us. And he was in a Canadian Tire in Vancouver, and I was shopping. I remember I was getting my son Benjamin the Poe Dameron Lego set, and I saw Kevin Bieksa, and I was like, "What?" My wife's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I think that's Kevin Bieksa." She's like, "So leave him alone." And I'm like, "No. I think that's Kevin Bieksa." So I timed out my shopping, so I was like following behind him and like grabbing odds and ends that I wasn't looking at, and I'm following him, and then he does the self-pay checkout thing, which was new at the time, and he does that, and so I scramble up there and I do that, and then he's walking out to his car. He was buying, I think, like a stroller, and I was walking out to my car, and my voice did something that I'd never seen it do before. I went like this. He's like, say from me to you, so 20 feet, something like that. And I go, "Kevin!" I like shocked myself. I was so starstruck, and I didn't have anything for him to sign, so I got him to sign my Canadian Tire receipt. Which I then gave to my son the next day, because I panicked. It wasn't. I don't even think it was my son's birthday, and I said, "Can you sign this? It's my son's birthday tomorrow." And so he signed it to Sebastian, and I was like, "Thank you." And it was crazy. So hockey people I fanboy over.
Thank you.
Thank you, like very much. That's really cool. Thanks. Hi again.
Hello. You didn't have a line, so I came up with
Thank you.
So, what's the dumbest way you've ever injured yourself while drunk?
Burnt my mouth one time with lighter fluid. I put that in my mouth and went. I had a little mustache going on. I didn't have a mustache for very long. The dumbest way I ever injured myself, though, was on a set. Wasn't even drunk. Didn't even need to be drunk. And it's still my worst injury to date. I'm walking down the street. I'm meant to be walking down the street. I'm playing this conspiracy theorist again. And I've got like this inverted umbrella that's acting as a satellite. At least he thinks it's a satellite. And I'm focused on that. And it was one of the first things I did when I got to Vancouver. I was also doing a play at the time, Romeo and Juliet. And I'm wearing these gumboots. And as I'm walking along, my boot gets caught in a groove like that. And I drop my umbrella. I go to pick my umbrella up. My foot is like that. And my body goes over. But it's that way. So I don't know if the cameras can zoom into that scar. It doesn't really work. It's a big scar, trust me. So I got a plate and like 10 bolts going all up it. So that was pretty dumb. But maybe burning my mouth was dumber. There's been a lot of dumb things. Do we have somebody else?
Hey,
Hi. Hi.
I think I'm imagining most of the people in the room agree that Supernatural does an amazing job with secondary characters.
Yeah.
And I think a piece of it is the writing, like everything you're saying about your own character, like how many layers there are.
Yeah.
But I also think they do an extraordinary job with casting.
Yeah.
And they don't seem to cast dicks ever.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering.
Except for Richard. And that's just a fact. Richard is, yeah.
I'm wondering if there's anything from the auditioning process that was different, or is it just because they're hiring Canadians?
It's funny you say this, and I think we're wrapping up, so I'll end on this one. When they originally cast this, they were looking for a 50 to 60-year-old guy. I went out against the guy who says okie dokie. I like him. He says okie dokie. So it was me against him, and then like sort of his age group. And I think they kind of like went off the board. I was like a bit, obviously it was 10 plus years ago, so I was a bit younger at the time. They went off the board with it. So I think it was fun and eye-opening for them. It was something completely different. And I remember somebody saying that if things were different, we would have wrote it differently if we had known it was going to be like that. So that was very cool. And in that one, that was a great audition. Thank you. And thank you, Las Vegas.
How'd it go, Chris?
I think it went okay. I don't know. It was my first Supernatural one, and I really enjoyed